What's going on, everybody? As you can see, we have a beautiful sunny day here in Southern Virginia. But yeah, we've been in the new shop for about a month now, so I figured why not? Let's do a little 1 month shop update. Alright, so we might as well start at the entrance. And as you can see, we're kind of getting some shelves and stuff in place. We got room for boxes, getting the molds, some of our molds unpacked, and finally kind of, in position. I'm sort of doing something where I'm working into the shop, if that makes sense. I'll get into that a little bit later. Like, even though I kind of have in my head, I know what I want to do. And if you've ever set up a shop or a workspace, you know how you got this great plan in your head of where everything's gonna go, and then once you start working in it, you realize, you start moving stuff around. So, we're getting some shelves around. I think the end of the last video, the first shop tour, I'll put a tag up here to that one, so you can kind of see like how far I've came in a month. But yeah, lights were pretty much done at the end of that video, and that was about it. This shelf right here, again, will just hold stuff that I use more often once I start really getting back into production. Doing all this stuff like my, electrical work and everything is pretty much done. Oven's done. I just got done doing the mini oven. So yeah, so this stuff can kind of go in the back, and then, either molds or shipping supplies or something can kind of go here, just make better use of this space. So, yeah, moving back around, getting stuff in place. Oh, I finally insulated the garage door. Going back, this is probably a project I should have did like right away. The shop did not have heat for a couple weeks there while I was working in it. But this made a huge difference because we have a mini split finally, which is nice. We'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, this made a huge difference. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I got one of those infrared camera things. Where is that? So it's this little FLIR, however you say this, infrared camera that you just plug into your phone, which is pretty neat. So you can kind of see where you're losing heat and everything. I'll put a link to this thing in the video description below. It's pretty cool. So yeah, so that made a big difference. Mini split, yeah, this thing was awesome because once I got this installed, it's the first chance. I don't know if you can hear it. It actually just kicked on. So that little FP is freeze protection, which allows it to get down to I think about 45 degrees over the weekend. So, but yeah, this Mr. Cool 24K DIY mini split. What's nice about this? It's pretty much a DIY kit where it comes with the outside condenser, which is on the outside of this wall here, the head unit. You basically just have to run a little 30 amp circuit breaker to the outside unit. That has like a little tail that goes up to the head unit, and then when you run the lines come pre-charged with the Freon or whatever's in there. And the way mini split works, it can do air conditioning and heat. I don't know if everybody understands that these mini splits do heat as well. It almost just like reverses the pressure, and this blows out hot, and what's outside blows out cold. I don't know if that all makes sense, but anyways, this thing's super cool. So once you run the lines, you just crack like a little valve, and you hear the Freon fill the system, and boom, there you go. Heat and air. So when you're doing composites, heat and air conditioning is super important, because temperature control while working with epoxies just really lets you like standardize stuff a little bit more. You get more consistent results that way. So yeah, so mini split was cool. Insulating this whole wall, every single wall in the shop is now insulated. I got a little bit up there and the roof isn't yet, but that's kind of, it's good enough to get me going. Yeah, so enough about that. Oh, the insulation, I'll put a link to that as well. I got that off of Amazon, the infrared thing off of Amazon, this stuff from Amazon. It's like, if I couldn't order stuff from Amazon, man, big time saver just having stuff show up to the shop. Shipping area is getting there. This is a transfer from the old shop, if you ever watched that video. If I took this roll and just like left it off of the wall, you can see how big it is. It would stick out pretty far. I didn't really want to put it like maybe up here or anything. I didn't have that option in the other shop. But you just run it up over this little piece of pipe with a little bit of slot, and there you go. You can kind of just pull out the bubble wrap you need, wrap whatever part I'm shipping, and you know, good to go. Oh, windows. The windows are the only thing that I subbed out to somebody else. Didn't quite feel comfortable doing them. Plus it was, you know, huge time saver. The guy gave me a price that was reasonable. So they're nice. Just let in a little bit more light. And this one, you can see I have a fan. If it ever gets like a little bit fumey in here or whatever, just kind of put the fan on and just circulate some air, and it's pretty good. You know, pumps are up. I'll put a tag up here of specifically the Composites oven. You know, how I did all this wiring and all that stuff. People always ask me about the oven. There's a whole separate video just on the oven. Let's see. Moving around a little bit further, we get to our mini bench. So in here, I call it a hot box, but there's a little tiny heater in the back and a thermostat controller right there. Again, it's the weekend, so it's off. But what it does, it just keeps all the epoxy at 75 degrees. So that way, again, going back to like the Minisplit, just keeping your epoxy at a constant temperature just kind of lets you, you know, it just makes stuff more consistent. So let's see, what else? Just kind of setting up stuff. Oh, funny story about these paper towels. They used to be right here, and you may think like, what's the point of moving them? You know, it's just a little bit closer where I use them more often. And if you think about it, you know, I would have to basically just kind of like step, grab a paper towel, you know, step back and use them here whenever I'm kind of cleaning up like epoxy or cleaning my like spray gun or anything. And it's funny, I did the math on it, and even though I'm taking 2 steps to grab a paper towel, 2 steps back, most people will think, oh great, you're saving yourself 4 steps. But a couple times a day, let's say I do it, you know, 4 or 5 times a day. That's about 20 steps. Across the week, that's 100 steps. 52 weeks in a year, that's 5,200 steps. And if you Google the approximate distance of 5,200 steps, it's like 2.2 miles or something. So spending 2 minutes moving the paper towel rack from here to here, I literally saved myself, you know, about 2 miles of walking. And about an hour of, you know, time just grabbing paper towels. And if you think about it, you know, I got paper towels there, I got paper towels there, but how many tools do I use? You can just see all the stuff hanging on the walls. How many things could I move where even if I take 1 or 2 steps less, how that compounds that time over the course of a year? So I know I'm getting a little bit off track, but if you're setting up a shop to do composites, or even, you know, the Reshot, whatever, you know, those little tiny things that almost seem not worth doing have huge impacts down the road. So you know, again, little off topic, but kind of thought that was kind of neat today. Oh, mini oven. This I just got hooked up the other day. Again, this is a very similar back wall to my old shop, because from that exterior wall to this wall right here is only like 6 inches wider than my old shop. So that's why I was able to take the old shop and kind of just almost just like plop it here for the most part. But yeah, so mini oven is hooked up. It's very, very similar to how that all is, but this thing is its own temperature controller. So the power comes in, you know, set it to whatever time I need something to bake for. I don't know, yeah, it looks like it'll show up. And then this is set to whatever temperature I want the oven to come up to. Maintain that temperature and we're good. The second plug is a fan that just circulates the air within here. So let's see, open it up real quick. So that's it, just an empty box. Oops, I left the lights on. So you can see, you know, just having the lights are nice. So yeah, so getting this mini oven done was kind of the last big step to getting back to full production capacity, I'll call it. So now while I have like a wing or a diffuser, something big going in the big oven, I usually can try and squeeze in something like canards. Are pretty popular for us through the small oven. So getting some hardware around. This is my small packing area, office area. Obviously I'm watching my YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up with more videos. But yeah, that's about it for the composite side of the shop. We will head over to the trim area. This is another area that took a ton of work to get up and moving. This area, I mentioned the old one, is going to be my mold area eventually. Right now you can see it's a mess because it's where I cut all the plywood to build shelves, ovens, whatever. So we'll just kind of skip this part. Not much going on in here. Trim room. The lights are cold, so it's a little bit dark. But you know what? Let's take a step back out. I had to build this whole entire wall as a partition between, you know, the trim room and the rest of the shop because, you know, all the dust happens in this room, as well as that little tiny heater down there is enough to bring this small area up to temperature pretty quick, so it's comfortable to work in. In the in the summertime, I'll put a window unit in there, so I'll have air in here as well. But yeah, this is very similar to my old trim shed at the old shop. It's a little bit shorter, but a little bit wider. But again, close enough to what the old shop was. The big change is that on the other side of this wall is still, you know, in the shop. So the shop vac is outside this time. And as you can see, so that's where the tube comes in. And then we just have these things called blast gates. So what you do, the other thing I did was I extended the switch to the vacuum all the way out here. And that's nice because as you can hear it, but it's not in this room with me like screaming, you know, making my ears bleed. So if I turn it on and whatever it is that I'm doing, I just pull a blast gate. So right now the vacuum bench is on, you know, and then I need to go up and use the the drill press. You know, we still got really good vacuum pressure, so that's nice. So rather than dragging a hose, let's turn this off. So rather than just dragging one hose around with me, you know, I can kind of just pull the gate open to whatever, you know, tool I'm using or whatever I need to do. So, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, again, that's about it in the trim room. This is just where all the dustiness happens. You want to keep it contained if you're setting up a composite shop because dust gets everywhere, even with all the vacuum stuff. So yeah, enough of this room. If you have any questions specifically about anything, just put a comment down below. I'll try and answer it in a future video if I can. So now heading back to where the least amount of work has been done is the back part of the shop, what I'll be calling kind of like the race shop. So it's where the cars goes. But as you can see, anything that hasn't really found a home is just kind of like piled in here for now. You know, it's obviously much more important for me to get the composite shop up and running, to get orders out. But yeah, you can see I started taking the siding off. I think I pointed this out in the first video. You can see the siding. This used to be an exterior wall, but then they built this big extension off the end of it, and you know, that's how we ended up with all this, you know, space and square footage. So yeah, again, didn't do much in here. I did set up my mini mill and my mini lathe because I did have a little project that I kind of was working on where I needed to tinker with them. I think I mentioned it in the first video. There's not a single outlet in this whole entire extension, so we're running an extension cord to there, but what I'll be doing is dropping a 100 amp sub panel somewhere back in this corner, and then from there I can just run outlets to whatever. There's a good chance I'll do a lift. You know, I've been working on cars pretty much my whole life, and I've never had a lift, so that might be kind of cool to actually have a lift. But yeah, so big plans in this area, just haven't gotten to it. Other stuff is a little bit more important. I want to get it insulated, so that's what this is, just like a little bit of a radiant barrier thing. I don't need it insulated like I'm going to be working out here every day, or you know, if it's 100 out, I need it 70 in here. If it's 100 out and it's 85 in here, that would be nice. Or if it's 30 degrees outside like today, if I could bring it up to like 50, you know. So I don't know, I still got to figure that out. But anyways, that's about it for this. And then, oh, this isn't quite shop related, but something that's pretty cool about this new shop location is, oh, I need like a handle or something. Oh man, the snow got crazy. But back, you know, it's a little bit hard to see. Can't zoom in on GoPros while they're going, so let's take a little walk. Oh, you know what? Somebody in one of the videos, this might make a little bit more sense. So that's the original building right there, and then you can see the extension off of the back. So, as you can see, we have some steel targets, some old doors that were laying around. Where is it? That was my target trying to hit. That was a door we just shot with a shotgun. But yes, steel targets are pretty cool. You can see I was hitting it with a handful of stuff. Being in a much more Second Amendment friendly area and having enough property to, you know, safely and legally just shoot every now and then is kind of cool. I was trying to think of something I can maybe do with it that might be kind of cool. Maybe try and shoot, you know, off-cut chunks of like carbon fiber. See how thick of a piece of carbon to stop like a 380 is probably the smallest round I have. Maybe I don't do much with Kevlar. Maybe buy a yard of Kevlar or something. Might be kind of fun, just something to do. Make it educational, you know. That might just be, you know, down the road again. All right, so that's about it for like the 1 month tour shop update. I think I mentioned it earlier in the video. Any questions or anything, you know, just put them in the comments down below. All right, guys, so that's about it for this shop tour. Now that the composite shop is back together, I want to get back to doing more of our standard regular videos at a more, you know, steady pace as well. I know there's been some weird gaps in here with this move going on, but start doing more composites, race car, aerodynamic videos, get them out for you to watch and hopefully learn something. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting the subscribe button down below. We got plenty more videos coming out. As always, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.